So continuing on, we've got some issues that we have got to address. I've went ahead and I've pulled down the rad support from up top, bolted it on the car. Now the reason I wanted to do that was to make sure that we have room in the front of this thing because we are redoing the engine mounts. So the main problem was last week I cut the subframe around the oil pan. What I wanted to do was cut the original one and weld in like a tubular bar that would go underneath the oil pan because the oil pan was too big and it would hit the factory subframe. So I did that, and what happened now was the factory subframe, you can't see it, but it goes right into the side of the block of the engine. There's no way that I'm putting anything there right now. The only thing that I can do to fix that is I'm gonna raise the engine up. I've just went ahead right now and put some pieces of metal just to gain the height, I need to set everything up. So now I'm stuck trying to figure out what I'm gonna do here. And when I was going through YouTube, and a guy on there messaged me that he's doing a build too, so I went over to his channel. It's Rowdy Audi _taxi. Be sure to check his channel out. He's doing a full build on his. He's got the thing completely stripped down. He's putting LSA Supercharged in it. The thing's gonna be wild. So I'll throw up a picture of what he did on his. This setup looks like it's gonna work very well because it moves that whole connection of the subframe further forward, so that when I have it running down the front, I'll have the clearance of the pan. I won't have to worry about the rear sump. And then I'll fab something up to tie that subframe into the new engine mount bar, because this is connected to the lower control arms and it's moving right now and it's just not very tight. So that has to be tied into something. So we gain a lot by raising this engine up. We gain the ground clearance. We gain pretty much clearance with everything. The transmission sits up higher. Our exhaust is going to work better. Everything all around is pretty much better, except for this intake manifold. The hood will not close. It hits the throttle body. The throttle body hits the brake booster. It's just not going to happen. The main reason I didn't want to raise this engine up is because an LS1 or LS6 intake manifold, which is about half the height of this, is going to cost outrageous amounts of money. It's like 600 bucks. Then I got to get rails and stuff. So I've been searching for weeks, trying to find something affordable, trying to find something that works, trying to look through all the stock intakes. I couldn't find nothing. I finally came up with a hit today of on a wrecking yard that had one. Comes with the rails and everything, and it's really affordable. So I'm going to go with that, and that's going to gain our clearance. And we'll be able to close the hood. We don't have to worry about the booster. I'll have to fix up the wiring a little bit because now I've flipped the orientation around of the intake manifold. I don't know how the LS1 throttle body, where it's going to sit. It's obviously going to sit lower. I don't know how much forward it's going to come, but something is going to have to be figured out with this intake elbow because there's not a lot of room there. So that's on order. That should be figured out. I'll move on to this rad support. Thermostat housing will not fit in here. This is pretty much butt up against the rad fans. There's just not a whole lot of room to work with here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these fans off, the unbolt from this frame here, and the rad, you can see you put a pin in here and it mounts up and it holds that rad in place. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tilt this rad forward as far as I can until it becomes an issue with the grill, and I'm going to make up a bracket to hold it in place. And the rad's got these tabs on the side, which actually work really well because there's nothing behind it. We'll drill some holes, mount the fans directly on the rad. So when I tip the rad forward, these fans are going to tip in forward, and I'll do some trimming and gain the room I need in order to make everything work. I'll probably end up chopping this tube here so I can just slide a rubber elbow on there and make some hard lines to go to the rad. I was also looking on this. As you can see, it's got those Audi quick connect type of things. Now what I can do is I can just sand this down and have that little lip here act like a beveled edge so that the rad hose doesn't come on. I'll just push it straight over. Or I haven't looked it up yet, I might actually go with a connector that goes on and outputs like a barb fitting for a rad hose. I'm not too sure yet, but that's another thing to figure out. I went ahead and made another list of everything I need to get done. So I think that's pretty much it. I'm just doing a little bit of an update because there's a lot of time in between my videos. I'm getting hung up on a lot of things because if something doesn't work, I have to try to figure it out. It just drives me insane. I can't leave it. I got to figure it out. So there's a lot of parts and stuff that I need to get, and just waiting for that stuff to come in. So I'll be putting up another video next week. The father-in-law is coming over this weekend. We're going to get that front engine mount hopefully completely figured out. So I'll have that up for everybody. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.